takes a certain amount of work, right? So we need data of vacant properties, non-owner occupied properties. We also need data of pre-foreclosures, right? That's 3 of maybe another additional 7 of different types of lists that you can have access to that data, and it's fortune. It's worth a lot of money. It's worth $10,000 literally. Okay, so you could basically go right now to EmpireBigData.com and go download that for free. For the next 7 days you can use the software for free. It's a software give you access to all of that data. So that data is stage number 1. Stage number 2 is contact. Inside of that same software you can skip trace the data, which means to go out there, you spend a few cents for each record, and they will pull out all the contact information of the owners of this property. So you can send out a marketing campaign, text messaging, postcards. There's options, basically postcards, text message. There's options basically to send an outreach to this homeowner to offer them to buy their property. All right, so $10,000 worth of game here. I want to give you game about wholesale real estate. $10,000 worth, potentially more. Okay, just follow my lead. There are five stages with this game. First of all, before I get into the 5 stages, what is wholesaling? The idea is we're looking for discounted deals. Simple. Okay, I am. So if you find one, all you have to do is call me. Well, you can submit to myEmpirePRO.com/submit. You need to make sure you have a contract in place, which is the 4th stage. We're going to talk about that in a second. But the key thing that I want you to pay attention to here is that this is a game. There are written rules, there are unwritten rules. But you have to learn the rules first before you break the rules. If you're breaking rules that you're not aware of, it can be disastrous, it can be chaotic. Okay? So with that being said, I want to give you $10,000 worth of game. Like I said, wholesaling real estate is about finding discounted deals. But when we say discount, what are we talking about? We're talking about 65% or less of what the property is actually worth in fully repaired mode. And then we have to determine how much it costs us to repair it, and then we have to adjust that number for it. So for example, 65% of $300,000, let's say a property, if it was completely fixed up in that neighborhood, after doing proper comparable market analysis, comps, something we call comps, we find out the property is worth $300,000 in a perfect condition. The property needs about $30,000 worth of work to repair it. So there's some holes in the wall, there's some flooring issues, there's that one bathroom that we need to fix. If we do all those work and we do it perfectly, right, then the property will be worth $300,000, right? So now we know what the ARV is, after repair value. So what is 65% of the ARV, which is $300,000? What is that? The that will be let's do the math really quickly. That will be $210,000, right? I think so. No, not really. It's $195,000. Okay, so 65, and then another 65, right? 3 times 300. We have $195,000 is the 65% of $300,000. But remember, I said the property needs about $30,000 worth of work. So now we have to adjust that $195,000 for the $30,000. Now we have $165,000. Based off of this math and the information that we have, we cannot afford to pay more than $165,000 for this property. It's an estimate. We may find out that we can afford to pay more. It doesn't matter. Our goal right now is to try to lock up a property under contract. The property, we have to lock it. It's a $300,000 worth of property, right? Minus $30,000 that's going to cost us a repair. That is still basically about $270,000. But we need to be able to pick up the property for $165,000 to potentially be able to make about $100,000. But we're not going to exactly make $100,000. It's going to be closing cost. It's going to be surprises in that kind of deal. That's why we create what we call the discount factor. There's another name for it in my book, but it's the same thing essentially. It's basically a way for us to create a margin so that we can make money. Not just us making money, but the person that's actually going to fix and flip this property needs to be able to make money. Because if they can't do that, they won't be able to help you with the 5th stage in this process. The 5th stage is deal disposition. So with that being said, I want to go over the 5 stages. Okay, I kind of touched on them as I was talking all the while. I'm going to go over it. The first stage is data. You need to collect data. Okay, what data? Data of vacant properties. Remember, the only way that anybody in their right mind will sell you a property at a 65% discount and even less if it needs work is if there's some kind of distress. So the first type is vacant properties. If a property is sitting down there vacant and it needs work, it's probably eating into the pocket of the homeowner, which makes the homeowner a property owner distressed, right? So we need a list of vacant properties. We need a list of non-owner occupied properties. What does that mean? The owner is not occupying the property. Maybe tenants are. Usually, most landlords are tired landlords. Okay, why? Because it's a lot of work. It's a full-time job to be a landlord if it's not a big complex, right? It's a full-time job. A lot of people get into that without realizing that it takes a certain amount of work, right? So we need data of vacant properties, non-owner occupied properties. We also need data of pre-foreclosures, right? That's 3 of maybe another additional 7 of different types of lists that you can have access to that data, and it's fortune. It's worth a lot of money. It's worth $10,000 literally. Okay, so you could basically go right now to EmpireBigData.com and go download that for free. For the next 7 days, you can use the software for free. It's a software give you access to all of that data. So that data is stage number 1. Stage number 2 is contact. Inside of that same software, you can skip trace the data, which means to go out there, you spend a few cents for each record, and they will pull out all the contact information of the owners of this property. So you can send out a marketing campaign, text messaging, postcards. There's options, basically postcards, text message. There's options basically to send an outreach to this homeowner to offer them to buy their property. Why wouldn't they want to talk to you? They are in distress potentially, right? Not all of them. It's a numbers game, right? So the third step is leads. Leads is basically synonymous in this context to interest. Once they show interest in potentially selling you the property, that's a lead. That's a person that is a lead, right? Then the next step is to negotiate and then write up a contract that says, yes, I will sell you this property for $165,000. And that contract is gold, and that's basically what you want to reach out to me. You go to myEmpirePRO.com/submit and submit any deals you lock in. We'll pay you 2% or more of the ARV of the property. It depends on the deal, of course, but you could make $20,000. The highest I've made on any one single deal is $82,000. So anything is possible with this. But once you have a contract, you now have to find a buyer, a cash buyer for it. You can submit to me, but you can also go directly to EmpireBigData.com and find cash buyers. Okay, these are real proven cash buyers, people that have basically people that have actually bought properties for cash. You have access to them. You have access to the information about their agents that represented them. So that right there is $10,000 worth of game. This video I will rewind over and over and over again, take some notes, because I think if you put this to work, right, if you actually put this to work, I know for a fact, because I'm a living proof of that, you can make boatloads of money over the next 1 year.